Time traveling in Pokemon Sleep has finally been patched. Except it hasn't. Welcome back to another Pokemon Sleep video, it's Bro Vinny here. As a lot of you are waking up this morning, Monday morning, to find out that you cannot cook meals from Sunday, you might go, oh, time traveling to cook previous meals has finally been patched, and the developers have been saying this for some time. In fact, it says right here in version 1.1.0, a bug that allowed for cooking 4 or more times in a day when certain actions were performed was going to be fixed. But what was strange is that a lot of you were still doing time traveling to cook your meals as though it was never patched. Until today, Monday. And then things started getting bad. Does this error code look familiar? If this happened to you, you probably time traveled. But you probably only noticed this when it's Monday. I've had so many people come to me with this problem, error code 028005. So what is this error code? I'm going to give you the answer now so that you don't have to watch the rest of the video if you don't want to, but to understand this, you probably want to watch it to the end. This error code happens when you try to cook a meal by going back in time to a time before you change your island on Monday. Yeah, that was wordy. Now, let me just say that this is still a theory, but it seems to prove true in almost every single case. It took me about 6 hours of testing and talking to people on my Discord to understand what actually happened here. Because this error is not consistent. Some people were still able to travel back in time to cook, even on Monday, but some people were not. In fact, I could make it so that you would not be able to cook breakfast or lunch, and you would only be able to cook dinner as a result of this error. Now, I'm going to assume that you guys all know how to do the time travel method. I'm not going to go through it again in this video because I've already done it twice before. And if you don't know how to time travel in Pokemon Sleep, make sure you refer to this video or this video here. I'll leave a link in the description below. I'm also going to assume that you know that breakfast starts at 6 AM, for Snorlax anyway, but the day rolls over at 4 AM. In other words, between 4 AM and 6 AM, you could actually potentially cook the dinner of the day before. So let me explain what I meant earlier by you cannot cook a meal that happened before you changed island. So what I'm talking about is if Monday rolls over and you wake up at 12 PM and we know that you can't cook breakfast at 12 PM and then you change your island to the new island. So for example, this week I'm at Lapis Lakeside. Then I'm actually completely locked out of doing breakfast at all. I cannot go back in time to do breakfast this Monday. I've just lost breakfast as a meal. And I've been able to repeat this test about 3 times now with 2 other Discord members and myself included. In fact, in one case, this was my own situation. I locked myself out of cooking both breakfast and lunch. I have an alt account where I changed island at 7 PM at night. And so when I went back in time to try and cook a meal from the day before, the breakfast of the Monday, or the lunch of the Monday, the app simply gave me an error. So let me prove to you that I changed my island at dinner time. This is actually my alt account here. I'm just collecting some rewards. And this is my alt account playing, and you can see that I'm about to change the Snorlax island. And here we go, so choose next research site. And these are just the usual stats. And of course I will get an F grade because I don't play this account very much. I decide to pick Greengrass Isle because that's where the event is. And you can see at this point that I'm already at dinner time. So I'm at dinner time Monday. It is definitely not the 4 AM version of the dinner. You just have to trust me on that. But because I changed my island at dinner time, the game has actually somehow maybe synced the time that I'm at right now in this time zone with the server and told the server that I'm not allowed, or told the game that I'm not allowed to go back before this time to cook no matter what meal. It could even be dinner. If I try to cook the same dinner, this dinner, and an hour earlier, it wouldn't let me do that. In fact, I did try to go back and cook breakfast on that same day. So even though it's within the same day, because I changed my island at such a late hour, I will get this error every time I try to cook a meal before that cutoff time, the change island time. Here, I have another alt account which I did something completely different. I changed island at breakfast time. So you can see my Snorlax is rolling the new berries at Greengrass Isle, and you can see here that it is breakfast time. Then I changed my time zone to the earliest time zone in the world to see if I could cook the dinner of the Sunday before. And you guessed it, this is not gonna work. And it's not to do with the fact that I've gone to Sunday, I've changed days, or to do with the fact that I've changed weeks in terms of my time traveling. It's to do with the fact that I've crossed that barrier, the barrier being the time at which I changed island, and that usually happens on Monday. So here I've gone back to the time that I changed island, so I went back to the London time zone where breakfast would have happened, where I was able to cook this breakfast, as you can see here. And I would also be able to cook lunch and dinner after that. In fact, you could cook all three at once, and sometimes even cook 4 meals at once, depending on how you time your time travel. As long as your time traveling doesn't go to a time before the time at which you change your island or research area. So think of this as a barrier that prevents you from crossing between weeks when you're cooking that you can determine the time of. So, for example, if you change island at 4 AM on the Monday, then there's no problems at all. You won't run into troubles of not being able to go back in time and cook a certain meal. In fact, my theory is you could potentially cook 4 meals. So, if you put the barrier at 4 AM, then you can cook Sunday dinner, Monday breakfast, Monday lunch, and Monday dinner, all on Monday. And potentially all at once. There's nothing stopping you from actually doing it all at once as well. But if you woke up extra late on Monday and you've already missed breakfast, you've actually changed your island at say 1 PM on the Monday, then you can't go back in time and cook the breakfast. But let's take another example. Let's say you woke up at 8 AM and you actually just forgot to cook breakfast, and it's now 1 PM, it's lunchtime. Well, you actually can go back and cook the breakfast. Just can't choose the time that is before 8 AM. I know time zones is not the easiest concept to grasp, and on top of that, needing to know how this mechanism works. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. Just remember that this still remains to be a theory. It may not be exact. It may not be exactly when you press the change island time. I haven't got any test results to show exactly at which point the server or your game registers as the barrier time. But from my testing, it's approximately when you choose your next island. Now, I would say that this feature or this bug fix was a way for the developer to prevent people from bringing their Sunday meals into Monday in order to shift the entire week so that the week actually works from Sunday to Saturday rather than from Monday to Sunday. And this used to be a huge benefit because you can cook your strongest meals at the start of the week, and now you can no longer do that, with the exception of the 4 AM Sunday dinner, but that dinner actually doesn't have the end of week bonus, so it's just a little bit of extra strength if you do manage to cook that dinner in the next week. So like I said at the start of this video, yes, time traveling has been patched, only in a way that really severely impacts the game, but otherwise you can still use it to catch up on any accidentally missed meals that you might have, Or if maybe maintenance happened and you didn't get a chance to cook lunch and it's already dinner time, well, you can still travel back and cook your lunch, then cook dinner. Just remember, you can't cook an earlier meal if you've already cooked a later meal. It has to be chronological. If this video helped you, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And a thank you to all the people who helped me test this out. And there's a few of you. There's Mist, Nutmeg, Dupeness, Nikita, SR Balance, Ape, and there's probably a few others I forgot. And if I did forget you, let me know in the comment section below.